We'll tell you about an event that's raising awareness for pediatric brain cancer. I'm Taylor Moore.
And I'm Courtney Sterrett. As the holiday season approaches, food pantries are stocking up. One student organization is donating thousands of cans of food to help. And the cold weather is here, but not all students are accustomed to South Dakota winters.
Plus, high school football playoffs come to Vermillion next week. How much money does that bring to the Dome? And the volleyball team is undefeated at home. But first, the headlines with Caitlin Stuffel.
A middle school football coach in Oregon has been fired for planning an awards party at Hooters restaurant. Hooters is known for its wings, plus the short shorts and tank tops its waitresses wear. Randall Burbach says Hooters is a family restaurant, and that's where the team wanted to go. Hooters says it's going to pick up Saturday's tab, plus donate more than $1,000 to the school's booster club. There are about 3 million more poor people in the United States than the official census shows. The Census Bureau released its official rate in September, but also has an alternative measure that factors in everyday costs, such as out-of-pocket medical expenses. The unofficial rate shows almost 50 million people were in poverty last year, with California having the highest population of the poor. The United States is giving $75 million to Palestine. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says the aid will go towards job creation, improving roads and schools, and other infrastructure. Officials say the aid is meant to boost Palestinian public support for faltering peace talks with Israel by showing them tangible benefits of the process. And those are your headlines.
The story of an 8-year-old boy has been inspiring fans at football games across the region, and even students at USD with his story. After being diagnosed with pediatric brain cancer, Jack Hoffman gained national attention when he ran a 69-yard touchdown during the Huskers spring scrimmage in April. This motivated USD student Christina Schroeder to put together the charity event Shave-tober. The fundraiser's goal is to increase awareness of pediatric brain cancer while collecting donations of money and hair. Students and community members gathered last week to show their support for Shave-tober.
I found out that pediatric brain cancer is the #1 cancer that kills children, and the government, only 4% of their research funds go to pediatric cancer, so it was a really big push for me to do it just for this cause. I mean, I haven't gotten my hair cut for a long time. Years, definitely years. I mean, I'm eager, I'm anxious, yeah, and very excited. I'm ready to make a difference.
127 people had their heads shaved on Halloween. The event raised almost $3,000 and donated over 130 inches of hair to Locks of Love.
Well, I just kind of wanted to go out and support raising awareness for juvenile pediatric brain cancer, and just it's going to a good cause, and kind of wanted a haircut too.
While most men aren't overly attached to their hair, women might have a more difficult time getting rid of their locks.
Definitely no regrets. And I did it, and I knew I was going to do it. I've been set out to do it since I planned it, so since I started planning it.
If you'd like to still donate to the event, you can do so until December 31st. 2 first-year USD football players were dismissed from the team last month after shooting BB guns outside a Coyote Village window. Khalid Cornegie and Detrell Stone were removed from the team October 8th. One of the BBs hit a Coyote soccer player and pierced her skin. Head coach Joe Glenn says he tries to encourage football players to be leaders on campus. He says Cornegie and Stone had a history of bad behavior and that they seem to be incorrigible. You can read more about the dismissals in today's The Volant.
A year-long study of buildings on USC's campus is finished, and now major renovations are being recommended. The space utilization study focused mainly on academic buildings, not residence halls. The report found almost 2 million square feet of space on campus and noted that the university is short nearly 120,000 square feet of space. The company also suggested major renovations for ID Weeks Library, as well as an addition to the Lee Medical Building for nursing and other health-related programs. Proposed long-term projects include adding a laboratory west of Churchill Haynes, removing Brookman Hall, and moving the admissions office closer to the Highway 50 entrance to campus, increasing convenience for parents and prospective students visiting USD. And now Coyote News wants to know, what campus building do you think should be the next renovation project? What suggestions do you have to make for the university to make it more appealing? Comment on our Facebook page or tweet us at Coyote News. We'll share some of your responses at the end of the newscast. Coming up after the break, one student organization has collected thousands of food donations for the Vermilion Food Pantry. Find out why students withdraw from classes more than halfway through the semester. Stay with us.
Good job, 30 seconds.
Hey guys, sorry I'm late.
If you came in late, you can watch anything you missed on our YouTube channel.
Last week, Coyote held their 9th annual food drive sponsoring the Vermilion Food Pantry. This event is the pantry's largest food drive of the year. Volunteers first met at the business school before dividing up into teams. Each group has then been assigned a list of streets to pick up donations.
Coyote is a student-run organization through the Become School of Business, and we put on multiple projects throughout the year, and one of them being the Coyote Food Drive.
After they collected the donations, participants dropped off the food at Trinity Lutheran Church. Inside, there were even more volunteers sorting through the cans and boxes.
I talked to the director at the food pantry, Mary Berglund, and she said that this is the smoothest and quickest it's ever gone. So still waiting on numbers, but I think it went really smooth.
We broke a few records this year. The main one was in July. We fed 575 people for 1 month, and that is a big record for us.
This year, Coyote raised over $1,000 and collected 3,500 food donations for the food pantry. Thanksgiving is just a few weeks away, but not all students return home for the holiday. Many international students, athletes, and students who live in coastal states stay on campus during the break. Coyote News' Nicole Griffith is live in the muck with Assistant Director of University Housing Todd Tucker to find out what students who stay on campus need to know. Nicole.
Thanks, Taylor. With the holidays quickly approaching, students are eager to get home, but that is not the case for all students. Thank you, Todd, for being with me today. How many students usually stay on campus during the breaks?
We generally have about 75 to about 150 students that stay on campus.
What steps do these students need to take to be able to stay?
They actually are going to get an email at the end of this week that provides them a link to a survey that they go fill out to let us know that they're planning on staying on campus over the break.
Are any Vermilion families taking in students over the break?
You know, we haven't gotten a lot of information about that right now, but we certainly would take the information in the housing office if there were families interested in having students over for the Thanksgiving holiday.
How does campus keep track of these students with the shortage of staff and supervisors?
We do have staff on campus 24 hours a day in all of the buildings, so there are people available for students, but we do keep track of it in the office just to make sure. And if somebody doesn't fill out the survey, then we definitely track them down and make sure that we know that they're there.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Okay.
For any students who are staying on campus, the United Methodist Church is opening its welcome tables to a Thanksgiving meal, which is a free and all-you-can-eat meal. Live in the muck, I'm Nicole Griffith.
Tomorrow is the last day for students to withdraw from a course. After leaving the class, the letter W appears on an individual's transcript next to the class they withdrew from. Some students may choose to take this action if their grade is low and they need to maintain a higher GPA for scholarship requirements or other reasons. Coyote News asked students if they would ever withdraw from a class after midterms and why.
I've never dropped after taking the midterms.
If I knew that the grade would hurt me in the end and that I could do better next year, I would.
I would if I was failing, but I don't fail.
I have never dropped a class. You know, if I failed my midterm, it'd probably be a good idea.
No, I don't think so. I mean,
I'd probably drop a class, but only if I was doing exceptionally bad at it.
I'm sure there are circumstances out there.
I actually did just withdraw from a course. I did it because I was having a really hard time in the class with relations to a professor.
And I just try to stick it out.
Suppose if I had a failing grade, I would drop a class.
But why would I? To avoid from getting a bad grade and adversely affecting my GPA.
I haven't, and I don't think I would just because it shows up on your transcript.
It's better to get out of there with a W than with an F, not drag your GPA down there.
Again, the last day to drop a course is Friday. Most people celebrate fall daylight savings time as the opportunity to gain an extra hour. On this week's blog, Chuck Gresser complains about the negative consequences of falling back.
Daylight savings is my least favorite holiday of the year. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. Those are the famous words of Benjamin Franklin. Well, you know what? I have no idea what he's talking about. Personally, I don't believe in daylight savings. Unfortunately, no one really cares. Daylight savings always seems to kick my you-know-what. My mom would set dinner on the table at what I thought was 7 p.m. She notices my face and asks, "Why are you so upset, Chuck?" I look at my watch and yell, "I was told dinner would be ready at 6. I'm starving." But there's nothing we can do about it. It's something the government took control over. Our sleep patterns, just enough to irritate us. Sound familiar? I know, you're all sitting there in awe, recovering from having your minds blown. It's okay, I'm Chuck Gresser, and I do that a lot. Sorry to cut out so soon, folks. I appreciate the time everyone takes to watch this. For Kyle Blog, I'm Chuck Gresser, checking out.
Coming up after the break, how much profit does the Dome receive from big events like the upcoming high school playoffs or the USD versus SDSU game? And the members of college Democrats and college Republicans are facing off tonight in an annual debate. Stay tuned.
USD's Contemporary Media and Journalism Department can be seen and heard all over campus. Faculty members know that hands-on experience now is the key to success after college. Get professional experience by participating in one of the many practicums offered. Have your voice heard on the radio. Edit a promo for a campus organization. Investigate breaking news stories for a weekly newspaper. Design advertisements for local businesses. Get involved with the CMJ department at USD and start your future now.
Here in South Dakota, it can sometimes seem that there are only two seasons, summer and winter. With doses of winter weather already hitting parts of South Dakota, students and faculty are preparing for the coming winter months. But not all students are familiar with the cold northern plain winters.
So being from Africa, it very rarely gets below like 60 degrees, and even that I'd say is pushing it. So this whole like negative 40 wind chill is just ridiculous.
While some students are dreading the freezing weather, others aren't taking the snow for granted.
Well, I was inside, and the first time I saw snow, I ran outside because I wanted to feel it, and I was like the movies. I wanted to try to catch a snowflake and stuff.
Well, I'd never seen snow before, and it was snowing when we got here. So I remember I went and stuck my shoe in the snow, and I was just wearing a sneaker. So my shoe got full of snow, and right then I was like, oh my gosh, what did we get ourselves into?
With cold, snowy months upon us, students can prepare by keeping the winter essentials in their vehicles. Common items such as blankets, jackets, gloves, scarves, boots, an ice scraper, and most importantly, a survival kit. Later tonight, the Political Science League is hosting their annual debate between the college Republicans and the college Democrats. KI News' Kathleen Suri is live in the muck with the PSL Secretary and Treasurer Clay Hoffman to discuss what tonight's debate is all about.
Thanks, Taylor. The annual PSL debate is a way for college Democrats and college Republicans to discuss their views on various political topics. We're here today with Clay Hoffman. Thanks for talking with us, Clay.
Thank you, Kathleen. I appreciate it.
What issues are going to be discussed and debated tonight?
You know, there's going to be a good variety. There's going to be state issues, there's going to be national issues, and international issues. So some state issues that are going to be talked about include the tuition freeze, which is important to college students, and then another issue is Syria on the international side of politics.
How do you think this type of event benefits students?
Well, I think they can get better informed, because I think that's what's wrong with a lot of politics in America today is the common voter is not informed enough, so it's very informing.
The college libertarians are not participating in this year's debate. Is there a specific reason for this?
You know, I don't think there's a college libertarians club on campus this year. We really didn't hear much from them.
And directly following the debate is the third movie in the International Film Studies. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah, the International Film Series is put on by the Political Science League, and they have them almost every Wednesday at 8 p.m. in Farber Hall, and it'll be following tonight's political science debate.
All right, thank you so much for talking with us, Clay. The Political Science League annual debate will be held tonight at 6:30 p.m. in Farber Hall. It is free and open to the public. Live from the Muck, I'm Kathleen Suri.
On this week's Yote Report, Coyote News' Jolanne Doom investigates how much money the Dakota Dome brings to the university by hosting state high school football championships in top of Big Ten conference games.
As one of the top athletic facilities in the region and the only dome stadium in the state, the USD Dakota Dome is not just the main facility for Coyote athletics. The Dome is considered a prime location for area contests from Little League to collegiate events, making it a major revenue booster for the university.
As far as revenue is concerned, next weekend is one of the busiest here at the Dome, and not just because of the SDSU game.
Next weekend, all 6 games of the South Dakota State Football Championships will be played on the Dome turf. For decades, these games have brought in large sums of money to the university and city of Vermilion. And if 14 visiting high school football teams and their fans weren't enough of an influx for one weekend, the Coyotes will also be taking on rival South Dakota State. USD Senior Associate Athletic Director Dave Williams says the amount of people coming to the Dome next weekend will really depend on the proximity of towns that make it to state.
Whether it's a West River team who maybe has longer travel versus a Sioux Falls team versus maybe Vermilion High School makes a miracle run and makes it all the way here and we sell the place out. It'll be completely dependent on the teams that make it.
With SDSU ticket sales at $40 and high school football tickets at $15, the university is expecting to bring in $61,000 in ticket sales this season. But despite its versatility and availability to other teams, the Dakota Dome will always be the home of the Coyotes.
For the Yote Report, I'm Jolanne Doom.
Thanks, Jolanne. State high school football championships start next week. Coming up after the break, the women's volleyball team is undefeated at home. It's basketball time, and LeBron James has already hit a new milestone. Stay with us.
Excuse me, ma'am, what is this?
Obstacle course training. It's how we prepare our staff to get you the news first. Not bad. The Blonde, first to the news, first to you. The student's voice for 125 years.
Tonight on Coyote Sports, we have a preview of the women's basketball team that only has one returning senior. I'm John Witherington.
And I'm Erica Arpan. The football team lost its first game at the home this past weekend, and sports commentator Kelly Stewart takes on hazing in the NFL. But first, the headlines. Caitlin?
Despite the Heat's slow start this season, LeBron James has already hit a milestone. James scored a season-high 35 points in last night's win over the Raptors. He became the 5th player in NBA history to score double-digit points in 500 consecutive games. James reached 10 points in the first quarter. Other notable players to reach that milestone are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan, and Karl Malone. Houston Texans head coach Gary Kubiak is feeling good. He collapsed at halftime of his team's game against the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday night. Kubiak's been at a Houston hospital where he's being treated with a medicine designed to break up blood clots. He suffered a mini stroke, which is caused by loss of blood flow. Defensive coordinator Wade Phillips has been named interim head coach until Kubiak returns. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers left the Monday Night Football game against the Chicago Bears early in the first quarter with a shoulder injury. Rogers has confirmed that it's a broken collarbone, but the team hasn't released a timetable for his return. Seneca Wallace is expected to replace Rogers as starting quarterback for Sunday's game. And that's a look at what's new in sports.
The USD's women's basketball team is looking at a tough season ahead of them. The team has only one senior out of the 6 returning players on the team. Coyote News' Mackenzie Schaffbenter spoke with members of the team to find out how they're preparing for the challenge.
Last year we had a bit more experience in our team with a lot more like half and half, upperclassmen, half lowerclassmen, whereas this year we've got a lot of freshmen. We've got 11 out of 15 freshmen and sophomores and only 4 upperclassmen, so it's going to be a little different, but it's going to be a new challenge and it's going to be fun. Although we might lose experience, we're going to bring something new to the table.
Head coach Amy Williams is also excited about the young team, but knows that intense preparation is crucial for their success.
Since this summer, we've been putting in a couple hours a week on the court, which was a new NCAA rule that gave us access to work out with our kids some this summer. Now here for the last month or so, we've been out here on the practice, couple hours every day, just trying to get ourselves ready and prepared to knock this off. We've got a really young team this year, so important that we get as much work together as we can.
Even with the team being mainly underclassmen this year, taking home the Summit League Championship remains Williams' main goal.
We sometimes don't have everything polished out right away here in November, December, but we always want to be striving towards playing our best basketball in March. And I think when you have a younger team, sometimes that happens even more. They as the season progresses, they get a little more comfortable and start learning the system. And we'd like to be able to take that next step. And the only thing to do there is to come away with that championship.
For Coyote News, I'm Mackenzie Schaffbenter.
The women's volleyball team hosted 2 big conference opponents this weekend. Friday night, the Coyotes took on in-state rivals South Dakota State. It was a sold-out crowd in the Coyote Den for the game. 4 USD players finished with double-digit kills total, led by junior outside hitter Kendall Crittenbrink, who had 15. The Coyotes easily won the first game of the match 25-17, but SDSU fought back and won the second 25-20. However, the Jacks wouldn't win another game, and USD won the match 3-1. It was the Coyotes' 7th straight win over the Jacks. USD also defeated NDSU Sunday at the Dome, winning 3-1. Natalie Walseth earned Summit League Offensive Player of the Week honors for her 21 kills against the Bison. She had an attack percentage of 70%, the highest of any Coyote since 1999. The game against NDSU was the last home game for the Yotes, who went undefeated in the Dome this season. The Coyotes fell to Iowa State last night in 3 sets. The Cyclones are ranked 25th in the nation.
The Coyote football team lost for the first time at home this year when number 10 ranked Youngstown State came to the Dome on Saturday. USD quarterback Kevin Earl ran a quarterback draw early in the second quarter for a 17-yard touchdown, putting the Yotes up 10-7. Youngstown answered back a few minutes later when quarterback Kurt Hess ran it from 4 yards out. With 2 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game, USD running back Jordan Roberts ran it in 11 yards to put the Yotes on top 34-31. But with 14 seconds to go, Penguin running back Martin Ruiz found the end zone from 3 yards out, and with a good PAT, Youngstown left the Dome with a 38-34 victory. The Coyotes dropped to 3-3 in the Missouri Valley Football Conference and 4-5 overall. They take on nationally ranked Montana Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock in the Dome. On this week's sports commentary, Kelly Stewart has a surprising perspective on hazing in the sporting world.
Hazing is a word usually found in the news regarding young adult organizations such as college fraternities. However, it isn't usually a term used in the same sentence as the NFL. Until now. As you may have heard, Miami Dolphin offensive lineman Richie Incognito has been suspended indefinitely for his, quote, conduct detrimental to the team, unquote. That conduct happening at the expense of rookie offensive lineman Jonathan Martin. Martin gave copies to the Dolphin staff of profane and racist text messages and voicemails he'd received from Incognito last April. ESPN read an edited version of the voicemail, and let's just say there were a lot of bleeps. I also read in a Bloomberg article that Incognito made Martin help with expenses of an unofficial trip to Las Vegas last summer. Martin didn't even go on the trip, but helped in the form of $15,000. So, to say the least, this was some extreme hazing. However, I'm here to say that hazing isn't all that bad. Though it has a negative sound to it, hazing on different teams can actually build team unity. When done without violence, like the freshmen on a team carrying equipment for some veterans or having to sing their school fight song at meals, it's almost like an initiation. It can be fun. It's like an icebreaker. The only bad part about hazing is that it sometimes escalates because the people that went through it want to up what actually happened to them. It's one of those one person can ruin it for everyone concepts. My final thought, I feel like hazing is just a part of the sporting world, and it should stay a part of the sporting world, if it's done nonviolently. For Coyote Sports, I'm Kelly Stewart.
Thanks, Kelly. After the break, find out the difference between No Shave November and Movember. Plus, a look at your Twitter and Facebook responses. Coming up.
Climbing's awesome because it's challenging, both mentally and physically.
You gotta love climbing because even when you're not climbing, you get a great view.
Climbing's great because I feel like Spider-Man.
Climbing is great, because even my nerd friends can do it.
Climbing's awesome because there's always someone who has your back.
Come to the rock wall and figure out why climbing's awesome for you.
Some do it for fun, and others do it to recognize a good cause. Either way, it's the start of November, which means students may notice increased stubble and lengthening facial hair on the faces of some men this month.
On this week's Out and About, we asked students if they know the difference between No Shave November and Movember, and if so, what is it?
What's Movember?
No, I don't know the difference. I usually shave because this is all I can grow.
No, I don't know the difference at all.
I don't know the difference. I know No Shave November is when boys grow their facial hair out and don't shave all month.
I have no idea the difference between. I've never heard of November. I've only heard of No Shave November.
Usually guys will just like not shave their beards. They'll shave on Halloween and then not shave all the way through just to see how far they get. And then some girls do it with their legs as well.
I was on a volleyball team and they did No Shave November with their legs.
Movember is where it's for men who just grow really big mustaches, and No Shave November is every other. Right?
I learned it from The Office, so I don't remember what it is. It's something about men prostate awareness, I think.
It's really fun to watch everybody else have their beards, and it's a lot of fun, I guess.
For those of you who don't know the difference between No Shave November and Movember, Movember attempts to raise awareness for men's prostate cancer by growing mustaches.
And now for your Facebook and Twitter responses. We asked students what should be USG's next renovation or building project.
Fritz Miller says new dorms, and Ryan Blake agrees. He says with the overflow housing issues in the past couple years, the university needs to make more accommodations for students.
Thanks for your responses. Be sure to check our Facebook and Twitter posts next week for the weekly question. A new copy of the Volant hit newsstands today. Be sure to pick up a paper to read how students in the Native Studies program are dealing with a lack of faculty to support it. You can also read about violence and delinquency in football across the nation. Those stories and many others can be found online at volantonline.com. For those of you who aren't aware, tacos are not a legal form of identification in the United States. A Florida man passed out drunk in the drive-thru of a Taco Bell in Jensen Beach. Matthew Faulkner placed his order, picked up his food, but then fell asleep before moving away from the window. When the police officers woke him, he tried giving them one of his tacos instead of his ID. Faulkner has also fallen asleep with his car in park and foot on the gas pedal, which started his engine on fire. He was arrested for a DUI with a blood alcohol content more than 3 times the legal driving limit.
That's all for Coyote News. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter so you can respond to our questions each week.
Thanks for watching. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.